just take a moment and allow your eyes to close. Allow yourself to fully arrive into this moment. Your body is here. You've come in from maybe many miles or kilometers away. You made it. But what about the mind? What about the focus? What about the awareness? Allow the awareness to arrive. And just allow yourself to unhook that awareness from all of the things in the world around you that are constantly changing. The sights, the sounds, the sensations. The physical world is a world of constant change, constant motion. Allow your awareness to unhook from the constant change and drop deeply within to that which is unchanging. Drop in to that spaciousness, the expansiveness, the stillness. Meditation isn't about stopping the world around you. It's about allowing the awareness very deliberately to hook into the unchanging, the eternal, the still inside. Allow the awareness to anchor itself in your breath. Don't change the breath or work with the breath, but just let the breath be a magnet that pulls the awareness to it. As it flows in and flows out, rises and falls like the waves of an ocean. On the inhalations, as you inhale, feel the waters of Mother Ganga flowing into you. We know she's flowing beside us. But allow yourself, as the breath comes in, with that sacred prana, the sacred life force, Feel the presence of Mother Ganga flowing into you. That sacred flow coming in, flowing into every cell of your physical body, your energetic body, your cosmic body, your astral body, all the bodies we have, feel them. Being touched by that flow of the sacred Mother Ganga. You may feel it in a physical form, the flow of the rushing river. You may feel it in just the spirit, the energy, the essence of the Divine Mother. But allow the flow of Ganga to flow into you on each inhalation until it feels like there is not an aspect of you that is not immersed in her divine presence. And as you exhale, allow yourself to let go into her waters. As the river flows in, it pulls from within us all of that which is stuck. And as you exhale, allow yourself to let go of that stuckness into her waters. Whatever it is that's grabbing and grasping, that's sticky, blocking the way in your internal channel. Feel the rushing flow of Ganga. Break it loose, and then allow yourself to consciously let go into the out breath as you give it, quite literally, to Mother Ganga. Whatever it is that's stuck, that's blocking, just let it go into her waters. If the mind wanders, don't worry. Just gently bring it back to the breath, back to the flow of Ma Ganga. And you can add a very simple mantra to this. As you inhale, as the flow of Ganga flows into you with the sacred prana, the life force of this holy land, allow yourself silently to yourself to chant. So. So on the inhalations, hum on the exhalations. So hum. So hum. It means I am that. I am that. I am one with all that there is. I am one with the Creator, one with the creation. There's no place I end and the universe begins. I am that. So just allow that chant of so hum on the in-breath and out-breath to flow through you as that sacred presence of Ma Ganga flows into you, pulls forth from the very channel of you all of that which is clogging you, blocking you. And we let it go as the breath falls. Slowly and gently, bring the palms together at your chest level in Namaste. Bow your head to the presence of the Divine in you, as you. Gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. And press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly lower the hands and open your eyes. Welcome to Satsang. So wonderful to be together. Cozy group tonight. As I mentioned yesterday, and I'll mention again at the end today, but just in case anyone has to leave early, this is going to be my last satsang. I'm traveling abroad for the next slightly more than a month. We'll pick up satsangs again middle of February. If you're here on site, there will be signs up in both of the receptions. They'll also get it up on social media, on the website and stuff like that. So I do hope everybody will keep coming for the sacred arti, the yoga, the meditation, all of that. But this post-arti satsang, we will start only when I'm back in February. So starting, as always, with a question that comes from our family joining us from online all over the world through this gift of technology. And then we open it up to any questions that anyone here has. There's a microphone right in the center of the room, right here. So any question that you have, come share your name, share where you're from, and ask your question. How do you forgive others when you yourself are a continued victim of someone else's wrongdoing? So this is a really core and very critical teaching. We do not forgive because what someone else did is okay. We do not forgive to absolve someone of what they did. Forgiveness is not saying to the universe, oh, hey, that's okay. No problem. Do it again. It's all right. Yeah, I'm kind of a punching bag. Yeah, I'm kind of a doormat. No problem, Feelings don't matter. Physical safety doesn't matter. Just whatever it is, keep doing it. That's not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness doesn't mean I deserved it. It doesn't mean it was my fault. Forgiveness means one thing and one thing only. I deserve to be free. That's all it means. Whatever you may have done, knowingly, unknowingly, on purpose, by accident, in whatever state of your karmic journey, in whatever confused, unskillful, disconnected manner you may have acted that caused me pain, regardless of any of that, I deserve to be free. See, if I don't forgive, if I hold on to the pain, what I'm essentially doing is saying, okay, you hurt me once, or maybe you hurt me 50 times. But I'm now going to take the most precious things in my life, my joy, my peace, my freedom, and I'm quite literally going to offer it all on the altar of your unskillful actions, of your wrongdoings, of your ego or your violence or your fear. Why would we do that? They've already hurt us. Why in the world would we give them the rest of our lives? But holding a grudge is exactly that. It says, oh, you hurt me. Okay, well, now I'll just keep hurting myself for you. I began as the victim, but now I become the perpetrator. You hurt me, but I'm the one who keeps it going every day. I'm the one who keeps reliving it, keeps reminding myself, keeps making sure that I'm stuck and don't move on. So I've gone from being a victim to being a perpetrator. Forgiveness says, your action does not deprive me of my birthright, which is freedom. But in order to access that, I have to let go. This karmic cord of anger and grudge is actually what's preventing me from being free. So that's how and why we forgive. If you're waiting until the person apologizes properly, or they make it up to you, or you deem them absolved of what they've done, you're going to waste so much of your life stuck. The law of karma is perfect. They're going to get whatever their karmic due is. The universe doesn't need us to stand over them going, remember, karma's a law of science. It's like a seed. You plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. The universe doesn't need you standing over going, God, remember, this is apples, not peaches. It's an apple seed. It's going to give apples. I always say, until and unless God comes down and taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, my secretary's out this week. Would you mind taking notes for me? Until and unless that happens, we're not the karmic police. We're not in charge of making sure people get their due. We're in charge of only our own freedom. And the only way to do that is let go. Now, the last part of the question, though, I want to just touch upon it quickly. It says, when you yourself are a continued victim of someone else's wrongdoing. And this is really important because just being spiritual, just being forgiving, does not mean, I always emphasize, it does not mean we are a doormat. It does not mean we're a punching bag. Continued wrongdoing? Well, that to me is a sure sign. I don't have any more details than I just read out loud, but it's a sure sign to me of someone who is staying put in a situation from which maybe the best thing they can do for themselves, rather than just forgive and have internal freedom, but is actually get out. If somebody is continually hurting me in a way that is objectively wrong, not just a matter of opinion, but objectively wrong, objectively harmful, if I'm being violated physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, sexually, whatever way it may be, if I am being harmed, I need to get out. If just my ego is being harmed, I need to stay put and work with my ego. The ego will say, get out, get out, get out. And our work is actually to allow the ego to quiet down. Because if the ego succeeds at getting us to run in this situation, well, it's going to get more excited about getting us to run in the next situation. And that's just, it's the workings of the ego. No one, nowhere, no job, no situation is going to give us everything we want. And if every time someone is not speaking or thinking or acting according to the way that we want, we go along with the ego that says, oh, they are the problem, this place is the problem, this job is the problem, I need to leave. It's what in the world of psychology we call pulling a location. As in, if I just move my physical body from point A to point B, everything's going to be better. But the problem is I carry myself with me wherever I go. So if only my ego is being hurt, or some false identity that I have about myself, stay put. That has been handed to you as your karmic work in this moment of time. But if you're being hurt physically, mentally, spiritually, sexually, in any of those ways, get out. Nobody is meant to be that type of a punching bag. So I don't know what kind of continued wrongdoing this person is going through. Sometimes, having somebody yell at us that we loaded the dishwasher incorrectly feels like wrongdoing, or somebody refusing to load the dishwasher our way feels like wrongdoing. So you've got to figure out really what aspect of wrongdoing we're talking about. But if you're being continually harmed, really, that's a signal. Forgive them anyway. But forgiveness doesn't always mean I therefore stay. I may forgive you so that I can leave this relationship with a freedom of heart, a freedom of being. That freedom doesn't mean I will stay and be your punching bag. Great question. Other questions that anyone here has? Yes, of course, please.
Namaskaram, Sadhviji.
Namaskar.
I'm Keshav from south of India. So my question is, what can a lazy but ambitious person do? Because they are in a constant state of anxiety. He is very ambitious, but also
Not
very
doing
lazy.
anything, yes.
So how can such person achieve peace and happiness? Thank you.
Great. So you're in what we would consider a situation of what's called cognitive dissonance. Thoughts say one thing, actions do another thing. Thoughts say, oh, I want to achieve this, achieve that, succeed here, do this. But the actions are like, oh, I'm still on the couch. I still have the bag of potato chips in my hand. What happens with cognitive dissonance, and the times and places we see it mostly, or a lot of the time, are things, for example, like people who smoke cigarettes, let's say, or eat a whole bunch of junk food. Typically, it begins by saying, I'm going to change the action. My thought says, cigarettes are bad, too many French fries are not good for me, I'm going to cut down or stop altogether. But if, for whatever reason, nicotine addiction, whatever it may be, I don't stop, the dilemma happens that then slowly the thoughts change. And slowly you hear people say things like, oh, well, you know, my best friend's grandmother smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day and lived to be 95. Or, you know, my next door neighbor eats potato chips for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. And, you know, his cholesterol's fine. And we change the thoughts then to match the behavior. Because when they are not in alignment, there is a state of dissonance inside of us. It doesn't feel happy. So in your case, or the case of whoever you're talking about, something's going to have to give. Either there has to be enough energy put in to catapult oneself out of bed, off the couch, out of the stupor, into actual action. Or what's going to happen is the mind is going to say, forget it, who cares? And that's a very dangerous place to be. Because that's when we give up. And this is why when people are starting on a spiritual path, I always say, you know, be really careful what you pledge to do. Because if you're used to, for example, sleeping until 9 or 10 in the morning, and you say, starting tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and meditate, well, when the alarm goes off, and you throw it across the room, or break it, or turn it off, or whatever you do, you don't only end up missing the morning's meditation. But if you do that enough mornings in a row, eventually the mind says, forget it. It's not worth it. Usme kutheni, there's nothing in there. It's not even beneficial. I know all these people who meditate and they're, you know, nervous wrecks anyway. And the mind will make up all kinds of stories for why it's actually fine that you keep sleeping till 9, 10 o'clock and not meditating, just in order to bring in that consonance between action and thought. And it's why I always say, you know, first choose an action you actually can do. Go from 10 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. A month later, go half an hour earlier. A month later, half an hour earlier. But bite it off in chunks that you can chew so that you'll actually do it. Because then the mind does something great. Then the mind says, I'm a meditator. And when I have a mind that says I'm a meditator, or a mind that says, oh yeah, you know those things that I commit to doing, I do them. Rather than a mind that says, oh God, you know, year after year I make these resolutions, I never follow them, I am totally undependable and lazy. Because that then is just what you perpetuate. So I would strongly encourage you. It's possible that the ambitions are so high and big and lofty that they have actually paralyzed you into a state of what seems like laziness, but is actually more sympathetic nervous system freeze, which actually does happen to us in states of anxiety. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we flee, sometimes we freeze. And if you have given yourself an ambition that feels to yourself like it is too much, too big, you could cause that type of internal freezing that leads to laziness. Instead, cut down the ambitions into bite-sized pieces. Let the ambition of the day be, I'm going to do one great thing for somebody else. Something simple. You know, working with people who are suffering from depression or real serious, like, kind of motivation paralysis. Sometimes it's something as simple as, I'm going to take a shower today. Or I'm going to brush my teeth. Or I'm going to make breakfast. And you should never feel ashamed of small wins. So start with your ambitions being things that you can actually do easily, that you know you're going to get through. Because I'll tell you another really interesting fact. These days, everybody's talking about dopamine addictions with our social media and cell phones and stuff. Turns out, one of the very best ways to give yourself a great hit of dopamine is to actually clean up your room. Clean your desk, clean your office. Literally tidying your surroundings gives you a huge hit of dopamine, which is great because it's a reward. Makes you want to do it again. You feel good about it. So even little things, start small. Get into a habit of doing what you commit to doing. But make sure that what you commit in the beginning, I mean, literally your first day's list could be like, brush my teeth, have a shower, make breakfast, do one nice thing for another person, send out 2 emails that might generate something positive for my future. It could be just a note to a friend you've lost touch with. It could be something as simple as a dinner reservation that you're going to take a friend to. It could be a job. It could be a bigger project. But it doesn't have to be, a letter to the Prime Minister about the vision that you have that's going to transform the country that you're ready to take on starting tomorrow morning. Start really small and get in the habit of doing things, because then the mind is going to say, I'm not lazy. I'm a doer. Like all the things I commit to doing, I do them. And as our self-identification changes, then everything changes. Yeah, great question. Other questions? Yes.
Namaskar Mataji, this is Harsh from Toronto. I want to ask where my attention should rest in the meditation, like what's supposed to be the focus point, like it's the breath, thoughts or mind. Furthermore, is the meditation enough or there's supposed to be any japs before or after that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, great. I'll take your second question first. Is meditation enough, or is there also supposed to be japa and other things? In an ideal world, where we all make a commitment to our spiritual practice that enables us to have enough spaciousness in our sadhana, absolutely, you would have japa. My seated practice begins with pranayam. It then goes into japa, and then it goes into meditation. That's the flow that I work with. It's a flow that works beautifully for me, but I would say, in whatever order works for you. Japa is an incredible practice. For those of you who don't know, japa is the recitation of a mantra or a name of the divine or a sacred word, typically using our rudraksh beads, like a rosary, with the recitation. Super powerful. So yeah, absolutely bring it in. But japa is actually something that you can do throughout the day as well. Definitely do some seated, eyes closed on the mala, but then japa is something that I recommend doing all day long. Whatever you're doing, let the japa be going. You're walking, you're eating, you're washing dishes, you're entering data, you're making photocopies, you're grocery shopping, whatever you're doing, let the japa be on. Eyes don't have to be closed, they can be open. Mouth doesn't necessarily have to be moving. If you're sitting in a board meeting, for example, you may not want your boss to see your lips moving. Looks like you're talking to yourself. It can just be inside. Doesn't have to be out. But let that japa be on all the time. But also, as long as we're talking about the fullness of that path, you want to make sure that there's also some seva. That aspect of seva, of selfless service, is critical. Seva is that which has been said over and over again in so many of the different scriptures, teachings, commentaries, wisdom traditions, as that which purifies our mind and our thoughts. That service of others selflessly. Not, hey, this is what I'm making, anybody who wants this, come and get it. But what is needed and how can I serve? Seva just says, how can I serve? Oh, you need a cup of tea? Okay. Oh, you need a warm bed? Okay. Oh, you need a shoulder to cry on? Okay. Oh, you need a website designed? Okay. Oh, you need some envelopes stuffed? Okay. Oh, you need somebody to sing you a lullaby and put you to sleep? Okay. Seva is just being willing to be, offering of oneself as that instrument in the hands of the divine. It's not about the end result of what I do, but it's about the surrender with which I do it. Another part that's really important to add in is some aspect of what we would call Jnana Yoga. Some scriptural study. It could be one verse of the Bhagavad Gita. But read something. It could be a chapter of the life of a beautiful leader, or a paragraph of teaching of commentary. But something that is deeply inspiring and that makes you understand yourself and your life in a different way, a spiritual way. So it doesn't have to necessarily be actual scripture. It could be commentary on the scripture. It could be lives of enlightened masters, their teachings. But something that you're able to contemplate on, that you can introspect on, that you can use as a way to guide that day, that week. I would add all of those in. And they don't have to take up that much time. You know, we all seem to have plenty of time to scroll on social media. We seem to have plenty of time to see every random video that every random person sends us on WhatsApp. So we do have time. It's a matter of figuring out what are our priorities. Nobody would ever say, I don't have time to brush my teeth. We need to do it. Nobody would ever say, oh, I don't have time to take a shower. Oh, going pee? Yeah, I didn't have time today. I mean, we understand that there's kind of things that you just got to do them. You make time. And our spiritual practice needs to be that. The fact that so many of us have so little time, all it shows is not actually how busy we are. I mean, you look at somebody like Modiji, for example. Clearly a busy individual. Right? I mean, it would not be an exaggeration to say that the prime minister of a country of 1.4 billion people is going to have a lot on his plate. Okay? And yet, meditates every day, does yoga every day, does pranayama every day. Next time you feel like you're too busy to meditate, ask yourself, are you busier than Modiji? I mean, like, really? You got more on your plate than he does? If he can make the time, I mean, it shouldn't make us feel ashamed unless that shame can be kind of a catalyst for us to drag ourselves out of bed and meditate. But it really causes you to think and say, my God, if he's figuring out a way to do it. So it's about priorities. Lastly, you asked about in meditation what to focus on. It actually doesn't matter. There are different techniques of meditation, different vehicles that we use to get kind of to the same place. The point of whatever we are focusing on is that it's taking our awareness, which is typically in 1,001 places around us. That moving thing that I'm watching, this thing that I'm hearing. Our awareness is all like this. I always love it in satsang, where we used to get it a lot more in the enclosed room, but we still get it here sometimes, where somebody will open their purse or cough or sneeze, and everybody's head goes. It's like, really? You've never heard a zipper? You know, it's not like somebody's, started shooting or something. It's a zipper. We all can identify it as a zipper. Or somebody, starts opening a cough drop or some kind of sucky candy or whatever it may be, and, it's a wrapper. And everybody goes. Somebody coughs, everybody. Not only are we so super distractible, but what it shows us is where our awareness is. Our awareness is out there, like antenna, picking up the slightest little movements. Oh, somebody moving. Oh. And what meditation does is give us one thing. One thing. It could be a candle flame. It could be an open-eyed meditation on a candle flame. It could be an open-eyed meditation on a divine image, an image of the divine. It could be watching your breath. It could be a mantra. It could be awareness itself. I am just the one who's aware. What am I aware of? Whatever is arising. There's a lot of different techniques of meditation, ranging from devotional meditation to vipassana meditation to so many different types in between. What matters is that it works for you and you can use it. Because what happens is when the mind comes to one thing, especially if that one thing is something that connects us to divinity or to truth or to presence is one moment you are the one chanting the mantra, reciting the mantra, watching the breath. And the next moment you have just merged into presence itself. One moment there was a witness, there was a watcher. And the next moment there is just nothing but presence. The seer, the seen, the object that's being seen, it's all just dissolved into nothing but existence or presence. The lover, the beloved, the love. I'm chanting a name of God, a mantra of God. The lover, the beloved, the vehicle of love, this mantra, it merges into one. So whatever you begin with, it really doesn't matter, but something that works for you to anchor the mind. And then it's a technique that takes you places. And it takes you into that state of truth. So use whatever works for you. There's a great story that we'll end with this evening. One of my favorite stories of these 3 guys who are stranded on an island. And they're panicking, naturally, as one would if one were stranded on an island. And they pray every day that somebody should save them. And one day they wake up and they find a canoe docked on the edge of the island. And they're ecstatic, and they get in the canoe and they row it back to the mainland, and they're saved. And a couple of weeks later, they're walking through the marketplace, and somebody sees them walking in a single file line with the canoe on their heads. They're holding the canoe up. And the person says, "Why are you holding that canoe on your head?" And they say, "Oh, this canoe, it saved our life. We were stranded on the island, and the canoe arrived and brought us to safety." The person says, "Well, that's great, but why are you holding the canoe on your head?" And they say, "Well, this canoe, it saved our life. We were stranded on the island, and the canoe came." Well, the canoe was a vehicle. It was a vehicle to be used to get from where they were stranded to where they were supposed to be. It doesn't matter that it was a canoe. It was never about worshiping the canoe, being attached to the canoe, holding on to the canoe. The canoe served its purpose. And it didn't have to be a canoe. It could have been a yacht. It could have been a rowboat. It could have been jet skis. All it had to be was something that they knew how to use, that they were able to use to get across the ocean. Once they got across, they're meant to be there, not to stay stuck with the canoe. But what happens to a lot of us, sadly, is we actually get stuck with the technique, and we become like the guys with the canoe, me and my meditation technique. It's a vehicle. Can I use it? Great. Then let me use it to get to that state, that place in which I am meant to live. But the more stuck I am with the vehicle, the less I'm able to actually be there. Like these guys were useless there. I mean, if you've got a canoe on your head, what can you do? So use whatever technique works for you to get you from a place of ignorance to a place of wisdom, from that place of falsehood to the place of truth, from the darkness to the light. That's what we use it for. Beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. Just to remind you all that after dinner this evening, back at about 8:15, we will be having the showing of a beautiful film that our brother Leon has made called The Kindness Within. It's a documentary that shows how people of all different religions and traditions, how important kindness is in our lives and in the lives of all of the different religions, all of the different traditions, and how to access that kindness within. So that'll be back here at 8:15. And as I mentioned in the beginning, unfortunately, this is our last satsang for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'll be back mid-February, and I look so forward to seeing all of you then. And in the meantime, have a beautiful few weeks. Stay connected online, of course. They'll keep streaming past satsangs and videos, so there'll be lots to stay connected and inspired. But I do hope to see most of